There was a time when failure seemed like a permanent shadow over my life. Each attempt to succeed felt like walking on fragile glass. One wrong step, and everything could shatter. People often imagine failure as a moment, a single incident. But in reality, it is a series of small moments that build up until they overwhelm the mind and spirit. I learned this the hard way, through experiences that left me questioning my abilities, my choices, and even my worth. It all began during a period when I was determined to achieve something extraordinary. The goal seemed ambitious but achievable. Every day, I dedicated myself to it. The hours I spent preparing felt like an investment in my future. Every detail mattered, from the smallest calculations to the broader strategy. I imagined the moment when all my hard work would be recognized, when success would validate every sacrifice I had made. I was confident, almost too confident, and in that confidence, I overlooked the fragility of preparation without adaptability. The day of the presentation arrived. I had anticipated excitement, recognition, perhaps even applause. Yet reality unfolded differently. The response was lukewarm. Questions I thought I had answered clearly seemed confusing to others. Comments intended to help felt like criticisms that pierced straight through my confidence. By the end of the session, I felt hollow. The weight of disappointment settled in my chest, heavier than anything I had felt before. It was not just a failed presentation. It felt like a personal failure, a reflection of inadequacy I could not ignore. That evening, I walked home slowly, replaying every detail of the day in my mind. Each misstep appeared magnified. The moments of doubt during preparation now seemed to define the entire outcome. For the first time in months, I felt powerless. The sense of control I had clung to so tightly evaporated, leaving only uncertainty. Questions loomed larger than answers. Was I capable of achieving my goals? Was I wasting my time by trying? The mind, in the aftermath of failure, has a way of amplifying self-doubt until it becomes a deafening chorus. Sleep did not come easily that night. Instead, I lay awake reflecting on the journey that had brought me here. Failure, I realized, is rarely sudden. It sneaks in quietly, often disguised as small errors, overlooked opportunities, and assumptions that go unchallenged. In that stillness, one thought emerged, faint but persistent. Perhaps failure is not the opposite of success, but part of the path toward it. The idea seemed simple, almost obvious, yet I had never fully understood it until then. The days that followed were some of the most difficult of my life. My initial disappointment evolved into frustration, and frustration threatened to become despair. I avoided discussions about the project. I avoided colleagues, friends, even casual conversations that might remind me of the setback. It seemed easier to disappear into solitude, to escape the world that had witnessed my failure. Yet, avoidance offered no answers. It only prolonged the discomfort, leaving me with more questions and fewer solutions. Then, one morning, a memory returned. An encounter from years earlier that I had almost forgotten. A mentor once told me, failures are teachers that demand attention, not punishment. Those who learn from them find treasures hidden within the pain. At the time, the words had sounded motivational but abstract. Now, they resonated with a clarity that could not be ignored. The treasure within failure, I realized, was insight. It was understanding, perspective, and a chance to approach the same challenge. With new awareness, I began to examine the project with careful attention. Where had I misjudged expectations? Which assumptions had blinded me to alternative approaches? Every failure leaves clues, and I discovered that mine were scattered throughout the process. I had assumed that thorough preparation alone would ensure success, neglecting the importance of adaptability and communication. I had relied too heavily on my perception of readiness without seeking feedback from others who might offer fresh perspectives. The realization was uncomfortable, but it was also empowering. Knowledge, after all, is gained only when one is willing to face truth, even if it is difficult to accept. In the following weeks, I took deliberate steps to apply these insights. Each small adjustment felt like rebuilding on a foundation that had once seemed weak. I sought feedback openly, tested assumptions that had previously gone unchallenged, and approached challenges with humility and patience. Slowly, confidence returned, not the reckless confidence of expectation, but a grounded confidence born from understanding and experience. Months later, the project was revisited. This time, the reception was entirely different. Clients responded positively. Team members expressed appreciation for improvements that reflected careful listening and thoughtful adaptation. The earlier failures had not disappeared, but they had transformed into lessons that guided every decision. What had once felt like crushing defeat had become a stepping stone toward meaningful achievement. Reflecting on the journey, I understood that the most valuable lesson I learned from failure is the importance of perspective. Failure is not a verdict, it is a mirror. It reflects preparation, assumptions, and choices, but it also reveals potential. The way one interprets failure determines whether it becomes a barrier or a bridge. Those who allow fear or shame to dominate may stagnate, while those who seek understanding within failure find pathways forward. The difference lies not in the failure itself, but in the response to it. This journey also revealed the profound value of humility. Pride often blocks growth, preventing the recognition of mistakes and hindering adaptation. Yet, humility opens the door to learning. Admitting limitations, seeking guidance, and accepting that one does not have all the answers are not signs of weakness. They are essential for progress, coupled with patience, which allows steady effort, reflection, and careful action. These qualities transform failure into a foundation for lasting success. Through this experience, I came to see failure not as a negative force, but as a companion on the journey of life. It is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be understood, studied, and integrated into personal growth. Every failure carries a lesson. Every disappointment contains an opportunity for insight. The key is awareness and willingness. Awareness to see the lesson and willingness to act upon it. Looking back, I realized that the fear of failure often outweighs failure itself. The anticipation of disappointment can paralyze, but facing it with honesty and reflection turns it into a source of growth. Life rarely guarantees success, yet failure always teaches lessons to those willing to learn. Setbacks no longer feel like endings. They become opportunities to reassess, adapt, and improve. Embracing failure with curiosity and reflection reveals strengths, highlights weaknesses, and inspires growth, guiding us toward clarity and courage. The most valuable lesson from failure is that true success is not the absence of mistakes, but the ability to learn from them. Failures teach wisdom, inspire patience, humility, and resilience, and transform setbacks into stepping stones. Life's challenges are opportunities to grow, adapt, and move forward. Those who embrace failure with reflection gain more than uninterrupted victories. And so, the lesson is simple, yet profound. Failure is not final, unless it is allowed to remain so. Every challenge, mistake, and disappointment carries within it the possibility for insight, growth, and transformation. Those who understand this do not merely survive failure, they thrive because of it. For anyone watching, remember that life's setbacks are temporary, but the lessons they teach can last a lifetime. By embracing failure with reflection, patience, and humility, every individual has the power to transform disappointment into opportunity. True success is not measured by avoiding mistakes, but by learning from them and moving forward stronger than before. If this story inspired you, give it a thumbs up, share it with others who might need motivation, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that teach lessons and inspire growth. Life has a way of teaching those who are willing to learn.